Most people live their entire lives as intellectual peasants, recycling the same thoughts and skills year after year, while a small elite class of continuous learners accumulates exponentially more knowledge, opportunities, and wealth with each passing month. This isn't about natural intelligence or educational background. It's about the daily choice between mental growth and mental stagnation, and that choice creates lifetime earning differences that can exceed $5 million over a 30-year career. The gap between people who learn something new every day and people who learn occasionally isn't just a difference in knowledge, it's a difference in cognitive capacity, problem-solving ability, and adaptability that compounds like interest in a savings account. While you debate whether you have time to learn, your future competitors are already mastering the skills that will make them irreplaceable in tomorrow's job market. And every day you delay is a day of compound learning benefits that you forfeit forever. Every single day. Millions of people wake up with dreams burning inside their hearts. They want more money, they want better relationships, they want recognition for their talents, they want freedom from financial stress. But here is the brutal truth that nobody wants to tell you. Only 3 out of every 100 people will ever achieve extraordinary success in their lifetime. Only 3%. Why does this happen? The answer is simple but shocking. Your thoughts either build empires or create prisons. There is no middle ground. Every thought you think is either moving you toward success or pulling you away from it. Every mental pattern you repeat is either strengthening your ability to win or weakening your resolve to fight. Let me tell you about 2 men I knew personally. Both grew up in the same neighborhood. Both had similar education. Both started their careers at the same company on the same day, 20 years later. One man owns multiple businesses and has achieved financial independence. The other man is still complaining about his boss, blaming the economy, and wondering why success keeps passing him by. What made the difference? It was not talent, it was not luck, it was not connections. The difference was mental fortitude. The successful men developed the habit of seeing opportunity in every obstacle. When the company downsized, he saw it as a chance to start his own business. When clients rejected his proposals, he saw it as valuable feedback to improve his approach. When competitors tried to undercut his prices, he focused on delivering superior value. His mind was trained to find solutions, not excuses. The other man operated from a completely different mental framework. When the company downsized, he saw it as proof that the world was unfair. When clients rejected his proposals, he decided they didn't understand quality. When competitors offered lower prices, he complained about unfair business practices. His mind was programmed to find problems, not possibilities. This is the harsh reality that most people refuse to face. The majority of individuals in our society function with fragile thought patterns. They give up at the first sign of resistance. They quit when things get difficult. They surrender their dreams the moment someone tells them it cannot be done. Think about this for a moment. How many people do you know who were just inches away from their breakthrough but gave up? The entrepreneur who closed his business just months before it would have become profitable. The salesperson who quit her territory just weeks before landing the biggest client of her career. The athlete who stopped training just months before making the Olympic team. The writer who threw away his manuscript just pages before completing his masterpiece. These people did not fail because they lacked ability. They failed because they possessed weak minds that cracked under pressure. Mental fragility destroyed more dreams than lack of talent ever will. It cost people millions of dollars in lost income. It destroys marriages that could have been saved. It keeps talented individuals stuck in jobs they hate. It transforms potential champions into permanent spectators. Our modern culture has programmed us for mental softness. We live in an age of instant gratification where people expect immediate results without sustained effort. Social media feeds us a constant stream of other people's highlight reels, making us believe that success should come easily. We have been taught to avoid discomfort rather than grow through it. We have been conditioned to quit when things get tough rather than develop the strength to persist. But authentic mental strength is something completely different from positive thinking or wishful hoping. Positive thinking without action is just fantasy. Mental strength is the ability to maintain focus and take consistent action even when you do not feel like it. It is the capacity to see setbacks as setup for comebacks. It is the skill of turning pressure into performance. Elite performers in every field understand this principle. When a professional athlete faces a crucial moment in competition, they do not rely on hope or luck. They rely on mental conditioning that has been developed through thousands of hours of practice. When a successful entrepreneur encounters a major business crisis, they do not panic or make emotional decisions. They access a trained mental state that allows them to think clearly under pressure. This mental strength can be developed just like physical strength. You do not build powerful muscles by avoiding heavy weights. You build them by progressively challenging yourself with greater resistance. The same principle applies to your mind. You do not develop mental toughness by avoiding difficult situations. You develop it by facing challenges head-on and refusing to retreat. But first, you must face the accountability moment that separates successful people from everyone else. You must stop making excuses about your circumstances, your upbringing, or your natural talents. The person who grew up poor and became wealthy had the same 24 hours each day as the person who remained poor. The person who overcame their shyness to become a confident leader had access to the same books and training as the person who stayed quiet. Your present situation is a perfect mirror of your current thought processes. If you want different results, you must develop different thinking. This is not about blame or guilt. This is about power. When you accept complete ownership of your mental conditioning, you claim the power to change it. Standing before you right now is a defining moment. You can choose to continue operating with the same mental patterns that have produced your current results, or you can choose to develop the mental strength that will transform your life. The choice is yours. And that choice will determine everything. Now that you understand the critical choice before you, let me show you exactly how your mind creates the reality you live in every single day. Your brain contains a powerful filtering system called the reticular activating system. This system determines what information gets through to your conscious awareness and what gets blocked out. When you program your mind to look for opportunities, that is exactly what you will find. When you program your mind to look for problems, you will discover problems everywhere you turn. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, one of history's greatest inventors. When reporters asked him about his 10,000 failed experiments while creating the light bulb, Edison replied that he had not failed 10,000 times. He had successfully discovered 10,000 ways that did not work. This was not clever wordplay. This was a trained mental response that allowed him to extract value from every experience. Most people would have quit after the first 100 attempts. Their weak minds would have interpreted each unsuccessful experiment as proof that success was impossible. They would have told themselves they were not smart enough, not talented enough, not lucky enough. Edison's powerful mind interpreted each experiment as bringing him closer to the solution. Same events, completely different mental processing, totally different outcomes. Your mind operates on a principle that psychologists call self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever you consistently believe about yourself and your possibilities tends to become your reality. If you believe you are capable of extraordinary achievement, you will take actions consistent with that belief. You will persist longer. You will try more approaches. You will seek out better mentors. You will invest more time in developing your skills. If you believe you are destined for mediocrity, you will unconsciously sabotage your own efforts. You will quit at the first major obstacle. You will avoid taking calculated risks. You will surround yourself with people who support your limited thinking. You will make choices that confirm your negative expectations. But there are specific patterns that reveal a weak mind in action. The first pattern is victim thinking. People with weak minds constantly blame their circumstances for their results. They blame the economy, their boss, their spouse, their parents, the government, or their competition. They spend more energy making excuses than they spend taking action to improve their situation. The second pattern is fear-based decision-making. Instead of asking, how can I make this work, they ask, what if this fails? They focus on everything that could go wrong rather than everything that could go right. They become paralyzed by analysis and never take the decisive action that produces results. Let me tell you about Jake, a naturally gifted athlete who had Olympic potential in swimming. Jake had speed, technique, and access to world-class coaching. But as the Olympic trials approached, his weak mind began to take control. He started worrying about disappointing his family. He became obsessed with other swimmers' times. He convinced himself that he was not mentally tough enough for elite competition. 3 months before the trials, Jake quit swimming completely. He told everyone he had lost interest in the sport. The truth was that his weak mind could not handle the pressure of possibly failing on the biggest stage. 10 years later, Jake still works at a job he dislikes, wondering what might have been if he had developed mental strength instead of surrendering to mental weakness. Now, Jake's not the only one to have failed at something accomplishment. You know, the third pattern of weak minds is comfort zone addiction. These people become so attached to familiar routines and predictable outcomes that they avoid any situation that might challenge them to grow. They choose the safety of known limitations over the uncertainty of unlimited possibilities. The fourth pattern is the comparison trap. Weak minds constantly measure their progress against other people's achievements. They become discouraged when someone else succeeds faster. They waste mental energy feeling jealous instead of using that energy to improve their own performance. Social media has made this pattern epidemic, as people compare their real lives to carefully crafted online personas. The fifth pattern is procrastination, which is actually a symptom of mental weakness disguised as poor time management. People procrastinate because their weak minds have convinced them that the task is too difficult, too boring, or too risky. They delay action hoping the problem will solve itself or the opportunity will disappear so they do not have to face potential failure. Here is what modern neuroscience has taught us about building mental toughness. Your brain has the ability to rewire itself throughout your entire life. This is called neuroplasticity. Every time you choose courage over fear, persistence over quitting, or solution-focused thinking over problem-focused thinking, you literally strengthen the neural pathways that support mental strength. The battle happens between two parts of your brain. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for rational thinking, planning, and self-control. The amygdala is responsible for emotional reactions, especially fear and anxiety, when you face a challenging situation. Both parts of your brain become active. The stronger part wins and determines your response. People with weak minds have allowed their amygdala to become the dominant force. Their first response to any challenge is emotional reaction. They feel overwhelmed, scared, or angry, and they make decisions from that emotional state. People with strong minds have trained their prefrontal cortex to stay in control. They feel the same emotions, but they do not let those emotions control their actions. You can strengthen these mental circuits through deliberate practice, just like building physical muscle. Meditation teaches your prefrontal cortex to observe thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. Visualization exercises program your subconscious mind to expect success instead of failure. Regular physical exercise increases blood flow to the prefrontal cortex and builds your overall stress tolerance. The key insight is this: you are not stuck with the mental patterns you currently have. You can build new neural pathways that support the level of success you want to achieve. But building these new neural pathways requires understanding that continuous learning is the primary vehicle for mental transformation. Most people try to develop mental strength through motivational speeches and positive thinking alone, which is like trying to build physical muscle by watching workout videos without actually lifting weights. True mental toughness comes from the daily discipline of acquiring new knowledge and applying it consistently, even when you don't feel motivated. Your brain's capacity for learning directly correlates with your ability to handle pressure and overcome obstacles. When you commit to learning something new every day, you are literally rewiring your neural pathways to embrace challenge instead of avoiding it. Each time you push through the discomfort of not understanding a concept immediately, you strengthen the same mental circuits that will help you persist through business setbacks, relationship difficulties, and financial pressures. Consider Marcus, a construction foreman who watched his industry transform as automation and new technologies replaced traditional building methods. While his co-workers complained about these changes and worried about job security, Marcus made a different choice. He enrolled in evening classes to learn building information modeling, green construction techniques, and project management software. The learning was difficult after 12-hour workdays, and Marcus often felt overwhelmed by technical concepts that seemed foreign to his hands-on experience. But Marcus understood something his colleagues missed. Every moment of confusion and frustration was actually strengthening his mental resilience. When he struggled to understand complex software, he was developing the same persistence that would help him navigate future career challenges. When he felt intimidated by younger classmates who seemed to grasp technology faster, he was building the confidence to compete in any environment. 2 years later, when his construction company downsized due to economic pressures, Marcus was the only foreman who received a promotion instead of a layoff. His combination of traditional construction knowledge and modern technical skills made him irreplaceable. More importantly, the mental strength he developed through continuous learning gave him the confidence to negotiate a significant salary increase and additional responsibilities. Marcus's colleagues, who had spent those same 2 years avoiding the discomfort of learning, found themselves competing for lower-paying positions with outdated skills. Their weak minds had convinced them that learning new technologies was too difficult, too time-consuming, or unnecessary for their success. This mental weakness didn't just cost them knowledge, it cost them their livelihoods. This illustrates why continuous learning is the ultimate mental conditioning program. Every subject you master proves to your subconscious mind that you are capable of growth and adaptation. Every skill you develop increases your confidence in your ability to handle whatever challenges life presents. Every book you read, course you complete, and concept you apply strengthens your belief that you can control your destiny through effort and intelligence. The connection between learning and mental strength runs deeper than most people realize. When you consistently expose yourself to new information and challenging concepts, you train your brain to remain calm in unfamiliar situations. You develop what psychologists call cognitive flexibility, the ability to shift between different mental frameworks and adapt your thinking to new circumstances. People who stop learning after formal education ends gradually lose this cognitive flexibility. Their minds become rigid and inflexible, making them vulnerable to anxiety and fear when they encounter unfamiliar situations. They develop what researchers call a fixed mindset, believing that their abilities are predetermined and unchangeable. This mental rigidity makes them fragile when facing career transitions, technological changes, or personal challenges. Continuous learners develop what Carol Dweck terms a growth mindset, the belief that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. This mindset creates resilience because setbacks are viewed as opportunities to learn rather than evidence of personal inadequacy. When a continuous learner fails at something, their first thought is, what can I learn from this experience? Rather than, I'm not good enough to succeed. The neurological basis for this difference lies in how learning affects brain structure. Neuroscientist Dr. Michael Merzenish's research demonstrates that active learning throughout life maintains brain plasticity and prevents the mental decline typically associated with aging. People who engage in regular learning activities have larger hippocampus regions, better memory function, and superior problem-solving abilities compared to those who become mentally passive. But the type of learning matters significantly. Passive consumption of information through television, social media, or casual reading provides minimal mental conditioning benefits. Active learning that requires concentration, practice, and application creates the neural changes that build mental strength. This is why reading business books while taking notes and implementing strategies produces different results than watching business videos while multitasking. The compound effect of continuous learning on mental toughness becomes evident during crisis situations. When faced with unexpected job loss, successful learners immediately begin researching new career opportunities, updating their skills, and networking with industry contacts. Their minds automatically focus on solutions because learning has trained them to approach problems with curiosity rather than fear. Non-learners facing the same situation often become paralyzed by anxiety and uncertainty. Their minds, untrained by the discipline of continuous learning, default to victim thinking and helplessness. They spend more time worrying about their situation than taking action to improve it. This mental weakness transforms temporary setbacks into permanent limitations. Jennifer discovered this principle when her accounting career was threatened by artificial intelligence software that could perform many of her routine tasks. While her colleagues worried about being replaced by technology, Jennifer enrolled in data analytics courses and learned how to interpret the insights generated by AI systems. She studied machine learning principles and business intelligence tools that complemented rather than competed with automation. The learning process was mentally demanding. Jennifer had to overcome her initial intimidation by advanced mathematics and statistical concepts. She spent countless hours practicing with unfamiliar software and struggling to understand complex algorithms. Each moment of confusion and frustration was strengthening her mental resilience while building valuable new capabilities when her company implemented AI-powered accounting systems. Jennifer became the bridge between traditional accounting practices and new technological capabilities. Her role evolved from data entry to data interpretation, and her salary increased by 40%. The mental toughness she developed through learning helped her embrace change that devastated her colleagues' careers. The discipline required for continuous learning transfers directly to every other area of life. When you train yourself to study consistently despite feeling tired, bored, or overwhelmed, you develop the same self-control that helps you maintain healthy habits, save money, and build strong relationships. The person who can force themselves to learn calculus after a demanding workday has the mental strength to handle any personal or professional challenge. This is why successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and leaders are often voracious readers and lifelong students. They understand that the mental discipline required for continuous learning is the same mental discipline required for achieving extraordinary results in any field. They don't learn just to acquire information. They learn to strengthen their minds and expand their capacity for handling complexity and pressure. The reticular activating system we discussed earlier becomes more sophisticated through continuous learning. As you acquire knowledge in multiple domains, your brain develops the ability to recognize patterns and connections that others miss. This enhanced pattern recognition allows you to identify opportunities earlier, solve problems more creatively, and make decisions with greater confidence. Your learning portfolio becomes both a professional asset and a mental strength portfolio. Each certificate and area of expertise represents not just knowledge gained, but mental challenges overcome. When you document your continuous learning journey, you create tangible evidence of your ability to grow and adapt, which reinforces your belief in your own capabilities. The key insight is that continuous learning and mental strength are not separate disciplines. They are the same discipline, approached from different angles. Every moment you spend learning something new is a moment you spend building the mental toughness that will determine your success in every area of life. This understanding transforms learning from an optional activity into an essential practice for anyone serious about achieving extraordinary results. Your future success depends not on your current knowledge, but on your commitment to never stop learning. The person you become over the next 5 years will be determined by the learning choices you make starting today. Excellence is not an accident. It is the inevitable result of continuous learning practiced consistently until it transforms both your capabilities and your character. The transformation that occurs through continuous learning creates what researchers call the expertise spiral, a self-reinforcing cycle where knowledge accelerates the acquisition of more knowledge. When you understand fundamental principles in one area, you can learn related concepts exponentially faster. This is why successful people often appear to master new fields effortlessly, while others struggle with basic concepts for years. David understood this principle when he transitioned from being a high school mathematics teacher to becoming a financial advisor. His mathematical background gave him immediate advantages in understanding compound interest, statistical analysis, and risk assessment. But more importantly, his years of explaining complex concepts to students had developed his ability to break down sophisticated ideas into understandable components. This learning skill proved more valuable than his mathematical knowledge within 3 years. David had built a client base that generated more income than his previous 20-year teaching career. His success came not from superior sales techniques or marketing strategies, but from his ability to educate clients about financial principles. Clients trusted him because he could explain investment concepts clearly and help them understand the reasoning behind his recommendations. His teaching background had created learning abilities that transferred perfectly to financial services. This demonstrates why the process of learning is more important than the content of learning. When you develop the mental discipline to master difficult subjects, you build cognitive capabilities that apply to every future learning challenge. The person who struggles through organic chemistry develops problem-solving skills that help them excel in business strategy. The individual who masters classical piano builds focus and precision that enhances their performance in surgical procedures. The meta-skill of learning how to learn becomes your most valuable professional asset. This includes understanding your optimal learning conditions, recognizing when you need additional practice versus new information, and knowing how to apply theoretical knowledge to practical situations. These learning skills compound over time and create increasing returns on your educational investments. Modern neuroscience reveals that learning creates physical changes in brain structure that persist throughout your lifetime. Each new skill you develop literally builds additional neural pathways that enhance your cognitive capacity. The brain of a person who has been learning continuously for 20 years is structurally different from someone who stopped learning after formal education. This neurological advantage affects every aspect of mental performance, from memory and creativity to decision-making and emotional regulation. The timing of your learning commitment determines the trajectory of your entire life. Starting continuous learning at age 25 gives you 40 years to compound knowledge and skills. Starting at age 45 gives you 25 years. Starting at age 60 gives you valuable years of growth and contribution. But starting tomorrow gives you more advantage than starting next month. And starting next month gives you more advantage than starting next year. The compound effect means that delays in beginning your learning journey create exponentially larger gaps in your final capabilities. The person who starts learning programming at age 30 and studies consistently for 5 years will have dramatically superior skills compared to someone who starts at age 35 and studies for the same duration. The 5-year head start creates advantages that extend far beyond those initial 5 years. Emma discovered this when she began learning digital marketing at age 52 after her retail management position was eliminated. Her friends told her she was too old to compete with younger professionals who had grown up with technology. Emma proved them wrong by leveraging her decades of customer service experience while systematically acquiring digital skills through online courses and practical application. Her learning approach was strategic rather than random. Emma focused first on understanding customer psychology and behavior, then learned how digital tools could amplify these insights. She studied social media marketing, email campaigns, and website optimization with the same dedication she had once applied to inventory management and staff training. Her mature perspective on business operations, combined with newly acquired technical skills, created a unique value proposition within 2 years. Emma was earning more as a freelance marketing consultant than she had in retail management. Her clients valued her combination of business wisdom and digital competency. The learning discipline she developed during this transition continued serving her as digital marketing evolved. While younger competitors struggled to keep up with constant platform changes, Emma's learning habits allowed her to adapt quickly to new technologies and strategies. The ultimate goal of continuous learning is not just career advancement or financial improvement. It is the development of an anti-fragile mindset that becomes stronger under stress. People with weak minds break under pressure and setbacks. People with strong minds survive challenges and eventually recover. People with anti-fragile minds actually improve and grow stronger through difficulties because they have trained themselves to extract value from every experience. This anti-fragility comes from the confidence that no matter what happens to your current situation, you possess the learning ability to rebuild and succeed in new circumstances. Economic downturns become opportunities to acquire undervalued assets. Industry disruptions become chances to pioneer new approaches. Personal setbacks become catalysts for developing previously untapped capabilities. Your learning journey transforms you from someone who hopes for favorable circumstances into someone who creates favorable circumstances through continuous adaptation and growth. This transformation represents the difference between living at the mercy of external events and taking control of your destiny through the development of your mind. The choice to begin this transformation remains before you, waiting for your decision to convert potential into reality through the daily discipline of continuous learning.